chapter 2, verse 59, Old Testament. And these were they which went up from Telmelah, Telhasha, Cherub, Adam, and Immer, but they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. So, Ezra, this is when Israelites are, this is after their captivity with Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon for 70 years. The Israelites now are going back home to Israel. This is when Cyrus now became the all-powerful leader throughout the Middle East and throughout the known world at that time. Took down Nebuchadnezzar, took down his empire, and granted the Israelites leave to go back home. So now, because they've been living amongst Babylon for 70 years, they need to work out who's an Israelite and who's not. Because some are being, because we've been mixed with all those nations that are under the Babylonian rule, basically, yeah? With the Babylonian, all the different nations that Babylonian conquers, we've been mixing with them. So it says, and these were they which went up from Telmelah, Telhasha, Cherub, and Adam, and Immer, but they could not show their father's house, not their mother's house, their father's house, and their seed, whether they were of Israel. Yeah? They didn't give a shit about their mothers. They didn't give a shit about who their mothers were. If they couldn't show their father's house and their seed, then that's it, they were out. Yeah? So it says, the children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 652. And of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, not Judaism, or come on, you can join our religion, or you can be part of this thing, join our family. It says by genealogy, but they were not found. So they couldn't find their names in the register. Yeah? Therefore, were they, as polluted, put from the priesthood. So they couldn't find their names. Because it has to be by genealogy. Genealogy, as I said to you earlier, that you have to, your bloodline has to go back to the 12 tribes. And the only way we know today is through prophecy. But back then, they knew directly through genealogy who was Israel and who was not. And if your father was not of Israel, if he could not show his seed or his lineage going back, then he had no chance of being in the house of Israel, the 12 tribes. Simple. So now we're going to go down to, so if we look, same chapter Ezra, we go back to chapter 2, but we'll go back to verse 1. It says, now these are the children of the province that went up out of captivity, as I just said earlier, of those which had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, which I said earlier, had carried away unto Babylon, which I said earlier, and came again unto Jerusalem and Judah, everyone unto his city, which came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Zariah, Reeliah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispah, Bigvai, Rehum, Baana, the number of the men of the people of Israel, not the number of the women, but the number of the men. Now we skip down to Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5. So Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5. And my power put into my heart together, and the Most High put into my heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers. So, and the Most High put into my heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers and the people, that they might be reckoned by what? What do you reckon it's by? You reckon it's by, I like you, I like how you look. You reckon it's by how much money you had, how rich you were. Do you reckon it's by, oh, you've been living with us for 40, 50 years? No. By genealogy. We start again. And the Most High put into my heart to gather together. So we're in Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 5. And the Most High put into my heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers and the people, that they might be reckoned by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of them which came up at the first, and found written therein, these are the children of the province that went up out of captivity, of those that had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away, and came again to Jerusalem and to Judah, every one unto the city, who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Nehemani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Misera, Bigvai, Nehum, Bahana. The number, I say, of the men of the people of Israel was this. And it just goes through all the houses of all of the men and the numbers that came. So it says the children of Parashon, 2,172. The children of Shephatiah, 372. The children of Arah, 652. The children of Pathamoa, of the children of Jeshua. These are all men. This is what it's saying. It says this, it says the number, I say, of the men of the people of Israel was this. And it goes through. Listen, it's showing you all the different men that represented within the different tribes and their families. Right through. You just got to continue reading Nehemiah chapter 7. And you just can continue reading from verse 8 right down to verse 73, and it tells you, it's showing you, it says, the children of Atta of Hezekiah, 98, the children of Hashem, 328, the children of Baziah, 324, the children of Harith, the children of Gibeon, 95, because it was only concerned about the men of the house of Israel, not the women. That's the only way you could decipher if you were an Israelite or not. Ruth. We're going to go to Ruth. And remember, Moses had two wives, Zipporah and an Ethiopian wife. And he had children with those. He had children with Zipporah, he had two children. How could they be considered Israelites if she was a Midianite? His wife Zipporah was a Midianite, Moses. And his other wife was an Ethiopian. None of them were Israelites. He had two kids. He had Gershom, and I think it was Eliza or Eliza, or the other son's name was, with Zipporah. She was a Midianite. His other wife, after, well, they say that he married her before Zipporah while he was in Egypt, was a Hamite, was an Ethiopian. Come on. That's Moses, our general. He was close to the Most High. He was the one that led us out of Egypt. Come on, man. Ruth. We're going to finish it off with Ruth. Yeah? We're going to finish it off with Ruth. We're going to Ruth chapter 4. Alright? Do you know why we're going to Ruth? We're going to Ruth because who is Ruth? Ruth is Boaz's wife. Ruth is King David. King David's, Jesse's father, Obed's his granddad, great-grandmother. So Ruth is King David's great-grandmother. Yeah? And who was Ruth? Ruth was a Moabite. A Moabite. Yeah? So, it says, then went Boaz up to the gate. Boaz was an Israelite. Sat with him down there, and behold, the king's men of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, Ho, hi, such as one. Turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. And he said unto the king's men, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land which was our brother Elimelech. Elimelech was Naomi's husband. Yeah? And he died when they had gone to live in the land of Moab with their sons and they had married. Yeah? And I brought, so in chapter 4, Ruth chapter 4 verse 4. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me that I may know. For there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it, talking about Naomi's land. Yeah. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the land of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth. Because Ruth is Naomi's daughter-in-law. Because Ruth had been married to one of Naomi's sons. And that son had passed away, which made Ruth now available now. Yeah? So, thou must buy also of Ruth, the Moabitess. The Moabitess, not the Israelitess, the Moabitess. Because Ruth is a Moabite. Right? the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, I cannot redeem it. For this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to the neighbour, and this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have brought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion and Marlon's of the hand of Naomi, because those were Elimelech's sons were Chilion and Marlon. Right? Now, moreover, Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of Marlon, who had died, because Marlon had passed away, that's why Ruth had come back with Naomi back to the land of Israel. Have I purchased? It says, so in Ruth chapter 4, verse 10. Moreover, Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of Marlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Most High make the woman that is come into thy house like Rachel and like Leah. They even comparing Ruth to fucking Rachel and Leah. Come on, man. That's how biblical these how they intertwined these things are. Because they saw them, they saw Ruth and probably Naomi as like Rachel and Leah. So we go back to verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come unto thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. What did I just say? We was talking. And do thou worthily in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Because Ephrathah is Bethlehem. Verse 12. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Most High shall give thee of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Most High gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, blessed be the Most High, which has not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And truly they did not know how famous these people were going to be, boy. Those names were going to be. And he shall be, verse 15, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, has borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbours, gave it a name, saying, this is a son born to Naomi, and they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, who is the father of who? King David. Now these are the generations of Pharez. Yeah, you got Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron. Yeah, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab. Remember, Pharez is Judah's son. Yeah, it's one of Judah's first sons. Yeah, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nashon, and Nashon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. So they weren't concerned about the woman's line, bloodline, genealogy, family line. It was just the man, because Ruth was a Moabite. She was not an Israelite. So Ruth had married an Israelite, Boaz. Yeah, they had a son called Obed. Now, according to these so-called Jews, if your mother had to be Jewish for you to be a Jew, then Obed would not be a Jew, because only his father was, and not his mother. His mother was a Moabite. So it means any children Obed had from that bed forward would be not considered an Israelite, because he wasn't an Israelite. So anything that comes out of these lions could not be an Israelite. So Obed begat who? Jesse. And Jesse